Hello and happy Monday, everybody. It's nice to see everybody here. I thought of something very fun to start out our Monday with to get us all talking. What's the weirdest thing that your dog does that you just can't seem to explain? I know our dogs all have those weird things. Um, and I guess at my own dog, Ed kind of prompted me to think of this one today. So, Ed, when my partner leaves and I am home, Ed will bark up a storm. Just crazy madhouse. And then when he all the way leaves, he runs back and forth a couple of times and then he finally settles down. However, I have been told if I am not home, Ed could care less if he leaves. Makes not a peep. So I think that's odd. We have tried a couple different ways. I was wondering, was he upset? Like, oh, didn't like dad leaving? Tried, changing how he felt about that. I tried giving him something else to do, like a food engagement toy or something like that. We just can't seem to crack it. See? So this is an example of the weird things our dogs do and how trainers' dogs are not perfect either. So we tend to go with the management route by, doing our best to get him engaged with something beforehand if I need to be on talking with clients or here on a live. Otherwise, we just grin and bear it. It's just the way he is and we can't figure it out. So what sort of weird things does your dog do? Keep thinking about that, and I'd love for you guys to all share with me if your dog has something odd that they do you just can't explain. All right, so today is our open Q&A where folks are, they can send us questions ahead of time, or you're welcome to ask us questions as we go along. It's always recorded, and we put a little short summary in it for everybody so they can see what we talked about. So you can decide if you want to watch the recording later. And we also upload our recording for our YouTube and Instagram followers. And we're always eager to answer questions afterwards if you have them. So don't hesitate to make comments if you're watching the recording. Okay, Sharon. Okay, I have to share this one. Sharon, Bella can't stop licking my son-in-law's ears. Some dogs do seem to have some weird fetishes, right? Yeah, I've known a few lickers in my time. My old dog Mary Lou, who's now passed, that licking was her thing. It was so her thing. Like, she could probably lick off your skin if you allowed her to do it for too long. She did it in enjoyment, and she also did it in stress. So I could tell the difference between which one was which. But I know, really weird, right? Sharon's so weird. Oh, too funny. Thank you. And somebody's commenting, maybe it's because his ears are so big. More ears to love. Oh, very good. Love it. So today we're going to start out with, we had a couple of questions submitted to us, one on our Facebook page, and that was from, let me find here, Chris. Okay, so I broke it down so we can read through it because it's a little bit detailed with what exactly is going on. And I love that Chris gave us the exact details because that'll help me to figure out the context of what's going on. Okay, so is there anything you can do when your dog starts anticipating he will see a dog behind a fence or tied out at the back of a driveway? I see this almost daily with a couple dogs in my hood. Sometimes, no, always, my dog Charlie starts by chuffing and the hair goes up on his back. Both houses are on our block, so it's difficult to never walk by. And I have treats ready if the dog is there, but if he is not, do I let my dog stop and look and stare, or do I keep him moving? Okay, so this is great. This is, our dogs get very good at connecting dots and anticipating events. And if they've, and then they've got their super sniffers, so they know where specific dogs live in the neighborhood or people or whatnot. And if you've got a dog in your neighborhood who is routinely out in the yard and bum rushes the fence, or even jumps and barks at the window and starts howling the second somebody walks by, your dog's going to figure that out quite quickly. So my first question is always to figure out, it sounds like Chris is already working with us for some dog-dog barking and reactivity. And we know that Charlie is social, but sometimes he's a little unsure when he's on leash. So I'm going to go with that, if he starts the chuffing and hair going up on his back, which means that he's getting aroused. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's upset or not upset. I would say, hey, this would be a good opportunity for me to change his channel. Maybe give him something else to do. So when he can't see him, we still have a behavior we can have as our go-to. Because traditionally, when we're out and about and we're working with our dogs who are barky or very frustrated or reacted, we're using a game called Look at That. And we can do a look at that where they look at him for a second and then they get fed, or we can do a hear that, and it's them hearing it. But if the dog's not there and your dog is still getting like really amped up and anticipated, let's change that channel. So there are two different things that I think of right away that could help me change my dog's channel. And it would be dependent upon which was maybe easier for the dog. Both of them have to be pre-trained first under not so distracting conditions so they can get hooked on the game and it's really easy for them. Number one for me would be using touch, also referred to as hand targeting. And this would be a great one for you to be able to keep going, Chris. So you could say, okay, touch my hand. You can just put it like it's behind your back. Charlie boops your hand, he gets fed, boops your hand again. You guys just continue on walking your way. He's got something else to do rather than stay hyper-focused on that fence, just waiting for that other dog to come out. The other thing that I have found helpful for dogs is turning on their sniffer. So what you could do is you could teach them a game called Find It, where you'd say, find it, pause, then do a little hand sprinkle of food rewards onto the ground, away from the side where the dogs are and could potentially come out all of a sudden and be barking. So it gets your dog's head down, and then it gets them into a behavior of sniffing, which I can't imagine a dog that doesn't enjoy sniffing. I'm sure there's some, but especially our houndy type dogs, they really dig this, and it becomes something really mentally engaging for them and really helps to change that channel. So which one you would choose, again, would depend upon which one is easier for your dog in that moment and how much you've been able to pre-train it up with these different distractions. So you always want to start with teaching these in your house first, where there's no distractions or you have very much control over those distractions. Then going to your backyard. After your backyard, your front yard, which yes, are very different to our dogs. And then start practicing it while you're out on walks where there are no visible distractions, because it is a scent world, Disney World out there for them. So you got plenty of distractions that you have no idea what's out there. Then start doing it with low distraction stuff that's at a distance away. So you could see a person walking, a dog walking, a car driving, somebody on a bicycle. They're at 50 feet away from you. That would be a perfect time to practice it, and then slowly decreasing that distance. So I came prepared with some videos for you guys. Okay, so the first video is going to be an example of Tank. of Tank doing a little bit of a hand targeting or touch, coming away. So they're not actually walking and doing the touch like I had explained, but this is calling him away from the distraction of children who are out in the front yard. Okay, so here's Tank.
Tink, touch. Good boy. Nice job.
That's an example of using that touch and being able to give them something else to do. So rather than him want to go towards this children or potentially bark at the children, mom was able to change his channel, give him something else to do, come back to her, and then she very easily could have started walking back towards the house and then play a couple more of the touch to get him coming and moving along. Touch is a fantastic game that dogs just really love. It's super easy, has really nice and easy to get them moving along with you. I also like to refer to it as my informal coming when called, because I like to teach both a formal emergency coming when called that I really want to charge up and protect like gold, and then I teach the hand targeting for easy little things that we can use for multiple different things out and around the house. The other game that I explained, Find It, I have a video of a dog named Hazel practicing this out in her backyard. So Hazel also could be fairly reactive to dogs when she was out and about, especially dogs that were moving at a faster clip and also dogs that were behind fences that she could see. The neighborhood that she lived in had a lot of actually off-leash dogs that would just be coming out to meet her in the street. So this was one that was really tough for her because she had had some bad experiences in the past. She loved to sniff, she loved to chase things, and loved to play with toys. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. She loves Go Sniff. So this video is very simple, and there's nothing very special about it. The only special thing is that in order for me to teach her the verbal cue, find it, means that I'm going to toss food onto the ground and she should go look for it with her eyes and then her sniffer and start hunting, is that I say the word clearly first, I pause for a second, then I do the toss. And we practice this a ton inside first. And I started out fairly close to her nose. So it wasn't like I was saying, find it, and then just chucking it like 50 feet away and being like, good luck. You know, I started out really easy, just putting it right next to her nose, tossing it here, tossing it there. And I did it on hardwood floors because then she had the advantage of being able to hear things. And it didn't meld so much color-wise into everything. Okay, so here is Hazel. Let me do a little fast forward. Okay.
Find it. Find it. Find it.
You see on that last one, she wasn't looking.
Good. Find it.
And she was engaging and playing the Find It game when I said it.
Hazel, find it.
And she, boop, turned around. She really knows what that game is.
Good. Smarty girl.
Whipping around.
Hazel, find it.
In order to see where my hand was pointing or going
Find
to
it.
where I tossed the food rewards. She was so much fun to work with.
Find it.
So much energy.
Find it.
Okay, so those are the two games that I would teach for Charlie to help to give him something else to do when he first even starts to alert towards, you know, the potential dog behind the fence or behind the gate or tied up in the driveway. So then instead of him just waiting for those dogs to come out and barking, he's like, ooh, this is where we play that fun game, because this is, you know, and the where your location wise becomes the cue to do it. Okay, has anybody taught their dog either one of these And what have you used it in other contexts or contexts like this? I would love to know that. Touch is one I teach a lot. So if you're a current or former client of mine, you've probably been taught that for something or other because it's so multifaceted. I can use it for dogs who are scared, to help move them about. I can use it to teach scared dogs how to say hello so that it helps that they know they have something to do. They run up and boop that stranger's hand, and then woo, they run back to mom or dad to get the food. It's a nice, easy, short hello, and then you don't get that accidental people, oh, he interacted with me, now I can start touching him, and then your dog's like, that was too much. So keeps them moving and fast away. The informal recall, like I said, I taught Ed to close cupboard doors and his doggy gate by teaching touch. So all kinds of fun things that you can use touch for. And Find It is a fun one that we play on the regular just to help burn Ed's mental calories. So we'll literally use his dinner and just play Find It in the living room. And he loves it. He's exhausted afterwards. Okay. All right, so let's see here. Do we have any questions about any of that before I move on to another question that I got actually during one of my private training sessions? We ran out of time and I said, watch the Monday Q&A. Hope you're here and that I would give an answer here. Okay, so the next question is from Christina, and she has a dog that likes to jump on people when they come over. And they have been trying a few different things. They're not, oh, good, you're here, hi. So they've been trying a couple different things. She's been trying different things, and her boyfriend's been trying different things. And so the goal was to get everybody on the same page so that it was clear to Naya exactly what happens when she jumps onto people. So, first question I always want to ask when somebody comes to me is, what's the deal here? Is your dog upset? Yes, this is always the first question I ask because we can see our dogs jump on us when they're panicking and they want our help, our attention, or help them to calm them down. We can also see them jumping and literally pushing people away while they're barking and saying, back off, dude, I want my space. Then we can also see it when our dogs are bored and they're basically experimenting with their environment to get something to do. And then, this works for me. We don't come into the equation here. I know that can be sad and deflating, but it's true. Dogs are about what works for them. That is going to be their first go-to. If it works to get them attention, they're going to repeat it. So, knowing the context specifically for Naya is that when guests come over or her boyfriend comes over, she's like, oh my God, my friends are here. And she's so excited and she runs to jump on them. And we know that because of her loosey-goosey body, her mouth is open and relaxed. She wants to jump to give kisses. And right there, that is a huge thing. So a lot of people ask, let me come back to me. So a lot of people ask, why does my dog jump? It's so rude. Oh my God. Well, your dog is jumping because they want to get up to your face to lick your mouth. Ooh, I know some people think that's gross, whatever, but that's what they're doing. And it's how they would greet each other. They run up, they sniff butts, and then they lick the face. Our faces just happen to be way the heck up here. So they're jumping to try and get that facial proximity with us. They're not being rude. They're just doing what is natural to them. So we have to decide what we prefer them to do. So our dog's not upset. Time to create a plan. What exactly do I want my dog to do? Now, that does not mean I do not want my dog to jump. That is not exactly what you want your dog to do. That's what you want them not to do. So, for example, for Naya would be, I want Naya to do a sit-stay when a guest comes in the back gate and then holds the sit-stay until I say, okay, go say hello. That would be an example. I would also add in there like hold a sit stay for 10 seconds or something like that. I'd be very precise with this. And then I'd say, okay, what version of that can my dog do now? Ooh, probably not much, right? Probably they're going to get excited. They're going to run up. You can maybe ask them for a sit if you have a food reward as a lure in your hand, or the guest has that and lures them into a sit, and they could probably hold it for a half second because they've got so many ants in their pants because they're so excited. So, but that's still a version of it, right? And we need to start somewhere. So if your dog didn't know sit, we'd have to teach sit. So, but I know Naya knows how to sit. So then the next would be, okay, what management do I need to put into place to prevent him/her from rehearsing this behavior? So we have to think, okay, I want my friends to text me before they come over so I can put Naya inside, or I can clip a lead on her real quick so that I can restrict her from just running free willy up to them and then jumping on them. That would be one example. If I were to practice this inside, I might put my dog behind a gate so that they couldn't just run up to go and jump to say hi to guests. You could also use a leash in that situation. So anything that you can do to help to prevent them from jumping is the go-to. So those would be my management parts. So, I did not download a video for that. Excuse me. But that's what I'm always thinking when somebody's asking me, I would like my dog to stop doing XYZ. How do I make that happen? I'm always going to, first off, is this dog upset or not? Because we would approach that completely differently than we would a dog who's just willy-nilly having fun and it works for them. Then I'm going to figure out exactly what I want my dog to do, put a management plan in place, and then start working on it, starting out at a very simple base. So for greeting context, what I will work on is a sit-stay. So I'm going to get a solid sit-stay first, using food as a dangle, as a distraction, because it's really easy for me to cancel. Then I'd move up to me making some movement, sticking around them in a circle. Then I'm going to practice me walking away and reapproaching. Then I'd turn on the actual greeting part. So I would, whoa, well, how is a cute puppy? And then bend down and start waving my hands at a level that my dog could handle. If they did jump, boop, oh, too bad, you lost your chance. And I'd turn it down a notch. Be like, okay, that was too much. Maybe I just bring out one hand, or maybe I just bend down. What is the cue that your dog is like, oh my God, I can't hold it anymore, and then just starts to jump? So I'm going to figure out where that magic spot is, and then slowly work up to me bending all the way over, sticking my hand out, petting with one hand, petting with two hands. I kind of watch my guests that are coming over, my family members, to see what seems to be the thing that, one family member or another does that my dog just goes crazy over and just really gets them amped up. I'm going to practice that. Then I'm going to start recruiting helpers. So say, okay, I need you to help me and text me when you're here and we're going to meet you out on the sidewalk, or text me when you're here and I'm going to have you come in and do exactly this. And then you walk them through exactly what you want them to do in order for them to get really good at not jumping on your guests. Now, you need to have your dog practice this with a lot of people. The reason is that this jumping behavior is so natural and so normal for them that it's totally their go-to. And we're teaching them the exact opposite of what they want to do at that point. So in order to help them to generalize that it's not just when mom comes home, it's not just when Joe comes over, it's not just when Susie comes over, it's when any person approaches me and starts to bend down to greet me, I sit and I wait until I'm released to go say hello. So they need repetition. They don't learn things like, say, learning the United States of America, the different capitals. They don't learn things like that. They learn by repetition and figuring out, okay, this is what works for me now. This other thing no longer works for me. This is what works. Okay, so now, do I have any questions on that before I get to some of the common errors that we make when we're trying to teach this with our dogs? Okay, no questions. Has anybody tried this method of teaching an alternate behavior and had success? Or, hey, it's really hard right now. Thankfully, we're all starting to, we're open now and we're able to get our vaccines, and, being able to interact with other people is starting to be, outside of our own households is becoming a real life thing now. But, your dogs get rusty just like we do, so I know I'm probably going to be a socially awkward person when I first start to go out interacting with people. And our dogs, even if they were excellent at this behavior prior, it's probably been over a year since they practiced this. So, okay, so I don't see any questions about teaching the sit-stay foundations or, sharing the experiences with it. So a common one that I see folks try when they've got dogs that are jumpy. Okay, we'll get to that one, Christina. Okay, so a common one I will see when our dogs are jumping. They're either jumping on us or they go to jump on strangers. We say down. Okay, so if you've taught your dog down, down means to lay down, elbows and ankles on the ground completely. But that's really not what most people mean. They just mean get your paws off, right? So then we've got people who say off, 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 and then they reward their dog for getting off. Well, this can unfortunately set up an undesirable behavior chain. What your dog is learning is I run and jump on the person. Mom says off. I get a treat for getting off. I run and jump on the person and repeat. And they're not doing this because that's what you've taught them works. You're not getting ahead of it and instead saying person approaching me means I sit, not jump, right? Because that was what your dog just learned in that other behavior chain. They learned jump, then sit, then get a treat. Now it's person approaching, I sit, then I get released. I get the treat of getting to say hello to this person, and I can get a food reward on top of that. So that's a common error that I see. I see that off error too when it comes to counter surfing and things like that. They put their paws up, we say off, reward. Off, reward. So that one, counter surfing wise, that is, we really have to take away the opportunity and the motivation that commonly is up there on the counters, because boy, is it usually a pretty much of a gold mine when they do get the thing that's up there. I remember my dog Mary Lou getting a whole loaf of bread once. Yay. So my bad. I didn't push it back far enough when I initially brought the groceries in. So, okay. All right. Christina's got a question. Okay. We also struggle with her jumping on us when we sit at the kitchen island, and I want to know what to do differently there. Okay. So when you're sitting at the kitchen island, I would suspect that you're eating. So if that is the case, then it's because we've got food up there. So she's more motivated to try and jump on you to get the thing that's up there. And if it has ever worked for her, I jump, mom cues off, I get fed for getting off. There's that behavior chain again. So in that context, rarely is it that rarely it involves food, or rarely that it doesn't involve food? I'll wait, because the next part I'm going to give as a this is what you can teach them to do, it's going to be dependent upon the context. It's more so a social interaction. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so it's more about you and getting your attention then. So it's not that there's the food on top. Okay, you put her outside when you eat there. Okay, it's good. So that's a good management situation for when you're eating there. So when you're sitting up there and you're just hanging out, talking with each other or whatnot, and she's jumping up because she wants to be social with you, then I would try and figure out, okay, how can I rearrange the environment? Is it, a specific time of day where she hasn't had as much energy? Is it when I get out my laptop and I'm sitting at the kitchen island and she knows that I am going to try and not interact with her for an hour or so? They know all of these setups to these contexts, and also very quickly learn, oh, mom's on a Zoom call. This is a common one, right? And if I whine or I bark or I jump on her, she tosses me treats, so I go away. And so I did that with my own dogs. Mostly the way I did it with my own dogs was when I first started years ago doing online work with clients, I was using my own dogs for demo dogs instead of using videos, because I was like, that's the best. I've got live dogs here, I can demo it. Well, my dogs started to figure out that every time they heard the ding ding of the Zoom calls, that it meant it could be food time. And they got excited and they started getting antsy and bouncing around me. They're like, woo, training time. It wasn't always training time. So I would try to, play find it, toss the game away. I would try to use Kong dispensers, things like that. They didn't last long enough, and I was having multiple sessions per day. So I had to practice during times when it didn't matter. So I sat down and I had my mom and my brother help me out. I'm like, we're just going to sit here and talk on the Zoom call. And I'm going to ignore the dogs when they get barky and whiny and annoying. So, kind of thinking about what is it, when is it, what's the exact context that these are occurring, and can we change it and rearrange it, that's going to be super helpful. If it is particularly like when you're working on something, or a Zoom call, or you're going to school and you're taking some courses, teach her to go down and lay on her bed, and then a downstay, and then have her be intermittently rewarded for performing that downstay on the bed. But you got to start with your basics. You got to teach, go to your bed. You have to teach it downstay while you're sitting, downstay while you're not looking, downstay while whatever other distraction is going on. But you can get there. We just have to figure out what the contexts are. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. All right, so do we have any questions from anybody else that's here watching? I can't, of course, see who's here, so otherwise I could check in on some folks that were asking us questions last week. Okay, I'm going to show this with you guys then while we're waiting. Let's see here. So we don't have any guests on the roll for next week, and I don't have a topic chosen either. So I would love for you guys to share with us what behavior topic or guest that you would like to have join us. Are you somebody that watches and is a behavior professional or in the veterinary field and you would like to join us as a guest? We'd love that. So email us if there's specific things that you're looking for. We're always looking for new things, and we want to make sure that it's relevant and stuff that you guys want us to come here and present about. To do that, you can, it's kind of small here, you can email us at team@wagthedogandcompany.com. Let us know what behavior topic you're interested in or guests you've always wanted to ask questions of and would love to have come live. That would be fantastic. All right. Okay, so I'm not seeing any other questions from folks. So I guess we're gonna stop a little early, which is okay. All right, I prefer not to just sit here and say, All right, well, thank you everybody for joining us as usual. I appreciate you taking time out of your Monday nights. And again, if you are watching the recording, please feel free to add to the comments. We do check them, we do come back and answer them, and on both our Facebook and our YouTube channels. All right, thank you again and have a good rest of your night. Welcome to your new week. All right, bye-bye.